use that. Oh boy, I hope that this doesn't wind up getting snagged because of the beat. Ah well. At this point, it's hopefully a popular enough beat that they don't copyright strike people just for that. Alright. Microphone is on, captions are on, glasses are on. Is the water full? Water is full? Gasp. And also chug water. I got the one thing I had forgotten, which was the energy drink, or at least forgotten that I can do here for stream. The Lord knows I was supposed to do my little ion electro treatment on my hands and feet, and I did not. I'll have to do it after, along with dinner. Gotta stop forgetting basic human functions, but maybe I just gotta take my ADHD meds earlier to remember the machine needs oiling and various things to function. Maintenance and whatnot. Okay, that's enough rambling. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Sergeant Killer Snow with Snow Studio Games, and today we are going to be returning, in a way, to our Module 9 project, which was the maze that we created. It created a set path with walls that we couldn't cross over, and then we had to reach the goal. So the way that maze worked was that it basically, every time you hit one of the movement keys, it would reprint the maze, and if it was an accepted location to move to, when it reprinted it, it would print the player icon in the coordinate position of where that available path used to be. And that's all it really was. But now we were tasked with creating a level editor for that, and just creating the level editor alone is like the baseline C conditions. So naturally, I want to push it a little bit further. Right now, we've got it about halfway there. We finished the setup mode, and we made sure that it only accepts the correct values, which, by the way, brings us almost to 600 lines of code, just doing basically setup and input validation. Yeah. So, with that said, we're gonna have a whole lot of staring at walls of text. Oh boy. Hello. Down there. Look at that. Nice little bottom light there. Cast less shadow on the neck. Like it. Okay. So to our right, where my mouse currently is, I'll just move it around a little bit and see if it pop up. Yeah, see? Over here, this is our original maze script. If I scroll up, you see it's a simple C++ only maze game for GAP 125. That's my class code. That's the module. So what this does, and I'll just go ahead and play it here so that way you can pretend to see, because it's tiny. Give me a second to get all up in there. So the player icon is the ampersand. Oh no, sorry, not ampersand. That's the at symbol. I forget what the actual term is for that. Our walkable path is just a decimal or a period, and the walls are the hashtags, I guess they're called now. Anyway, there's also the goal, which is just X. So we navigate with WASD, and those are the only keys that will work. Everything else is considered unrecognized. So when we move, you see the ampersand is in a different spot. If I try and go up out of the maze, you'll see that it says can't move here. It flashes it for a fraction of a second. Let me scoot this over a bit more so I'm not blocking it. flashes it really quick, but I made it so that way it says the message. I put it in the wrong spot for it to clear it out and reprint the thing, so whoops. But the point is made, and then it'll say the same thing if I try and cross over a wall. So whole point is to just navigate over to the X, and then you win, and then it's done. Alright, so doing that was about, with organization and everything, 255 lines of code, and just getting in good input validation for the different possibilities that we can accept and want to accept. Have taken me a minute. But then again, I have commented almost everything so far, so that is adding to the line count. Let's be conscious of that. So I'll show what it does right now. Please enter the desired grid width and press enter. Never input the F11 or F12, they crash the program, and accepted values are between 4 and 12. Cool. So, if you try and hit 3 and enter, see that it says it's not in the assigned range. If you try and type like 20, oops, I had to press a key to continue, my bad. So let's say you try and put in 33, not within the assigned range. It'll only accept two key presses of input before it goes ahead and evaluates whether you put something that was valid or not. Because you're either putting in a basically like a single digit number, or you're putting in a 2-digit number, or you're putting in a negative single digit number. Because the only negative number we accept is -1. So if you try and do -8, currently in setup mode, negative values are only accepted as -1 and only in edit mode. Please retry input. Alright, so now let's do the right thing and say it's a 12. Alright, it evaluated. Please enter desired grid height and press enter. Alright, let's say that's 9. There you go, you have a 12 by 9 grid. I was reading all that off because I can see it clearly. I realized that y'all could not. Whoop! There you go. So, we have done a whole bunch of input validation to make sure that people can't dick around. Oh, I also didn't demonstrate. Let me get that all good again. Do a little word wrap. Okay, so something I didn't show was invalid input detected. Perfect. So yeah, you try and input any type of letter, it's also just going to, I'm just spamming on the keyboard now, and then I hit 23 accidentally. Whoops! And if you hit F11, that's why I put that warning there. Do not ever hit F11 or F12. It'll do a debug assertion fail. I don't know what that is for. I just put that in there. Just don't do it. Because if I try and do anything else but abort, it won't. It just won't. So, don't. Easy. Oh. This has been a lot getting to this point. Won't lie. But we're starting up edit mode. And I also set up some stuff so that way we can have ways to kind of incorporate the maze game aspect back into it. So I set up a key value up here, and I commented out just in case, you know, I don't want it to take up space if it's not needed. So right now it's commented out, but I have it there. And I currently have this available here because I want to be able to change the values that like matter for the maze game, such as the wall, path, goal, and player. And I want the player to be able to, or the user to be able to define these specific values if they go into like the actual map editor mode. If they want to go into free edit mode, which is what I'm currently designing. I'm not calling it free edit mode yet because I want to see if I can just get this to do what it's supposed to do baseline first now, before I do the stuff that I set the groundwork for. He gave me till Monday, so I know that I should be able to do all the fancy things that I want to do with it too, but I need to get the baseline done first. Good. Let me put my phone up here. Okay. How do we want to start this edit mode? First off, it feeds in the maze array that we generate in main, because the way this script works is we're using in setup mode. That this is going to go a little nutty, and it might take about 10 minutes to go through the whole thing real quick. I hid this because don't really need to see it, but these are just the variables that are being used throughout it. This loops until a number or negative operator is entered for the first input, because we're not creating functions or equations, so a negative operator anywhere besides the beginning is not going to be accepted regardless. But if it's in the first input that the user does, then that means they're priming to do a negative number. They might be trying to enter -1, and I didn't want to create two separate like functions to check for, like, are they pressing a number or are they pressing a negative. You can just include it in the thing and then do an if the negative is actually there, then fix that. So that's what I did. So in this loop, it checks what our input is, and if that input goes through our function that converts a single character to an integer, if it is an integer between 0 and 9, it'll return the converted int value, and then we accept that as the first number, and we output it. That one's important, because if we don't output it, then it just kind of leaves the cursor there, and the user doesn't know if they actually had an input go in. So they might hit the same number again, and then it's like, oh no, you hit 33. You know, great shit. We're preemptively taking care of that with that function. I don't think I need to show it. It's just a switch. It's literally just, I took the switch that I wrote in here, and I was like, this could be a function, and I moved it up. That's all I did. So, see this? We also have a value that we set called detected negative input, and if that is active, just for this mode, for setup mode, we have it set up down here that if the negative value is on, let's see, yeah, see, if negative input detected, currently in setup mode, negative values are only accepted as -1 and only in edit mode. That's what we do. That was the whole point of that check for the negative, and including it as part of the integer check. Next, we check for the second input, and we only want to accept a number. So that's that. We already showed detected negative input. If we also want to check if the second choice was the enter key. So if they put in a single digit value and then they hit enter, like that's the number that they want, instead of putting in a second digit for a second digit, you know, for a 2-digit number, or to complete a negative number operation, then you need to like cut it there, don't look for any more input, and just skip ahead. You basically need to tell it what to do for enter, and have it not auto reject the enter key because it wasn't a number. If it wasn't the enter key, then it goes and says invalid input. But this is just to check for if it was the enter key. If it wasn't the enter key, then you null out the second number variable and just break out of there. Or if it was, you know, basically read this. If the input is a valid number and it's not equal to the negative, then convert it to an int, accept it. If it is an accepted number, else's input is enter key. So if it's an accepted number or the enter key, do one of these two things, which will break it out of the loop and let it continue on to print what we need and get the hell out of setup mode. But if they mess up, it does the thing that we saw countless times already. Closing that up. Wait. There. Then there. I have an order to things, because this is a whole lot of code. Like, this is all, again, just the input validation for setup mode to get the grid set up, and we're already at, like, almost 400 line, yeah, we're past the 400 line point. Crazy! Spare all the rest of that. Close up the rest of that loop. And that's why I went ahead and put the comments, because I knew that just leaving everything open is going to be kind of insane. So I think we can collapse this one too, honestly. So if the checks are passed, I actually created a function that'll combine two separate integer, like single-digit values, and it'll take the first value and multiply it by 10, obviously, because it's going to be in the tens place, and then add it to the second value and make it the 1. So that way, if they put 1 as their first value and 2 as their second, the input validation is going to save the first input 1 as one value character, as a number, and then the second input as another one. That was how I got the input validation to work without having to create a specific, like, string validation, which I started to look into it, and I was like, you know what? Nah, I'll just do it one at a time. Probably what bloated it a little bit. And that was all just for, like, the X value. Then it repeats the same thing for Y. And that is why it goes to 600 lines. It's crazy. So then it prints, it goes back to the main function, and then the main function tells it to print the grid. So it just prints the grid using this. And this is generic enough that it will constantly just reference the same array that we're editing constantly, and the coordinates that we tell it to. Or rather, it's using this to know the width of the grid. My bad. Because that's part of the calculations. Right there. Because it needs grid, the grid Y, also known as griddy. Don't crucify me for that one. That's setup mode. Like I said, we're halfway there, and that took about 10 minutes to explain. Everything else here is just part of the validations. Input is enter key, convert digit to integer, combine player inputs, check if value is in range, get X at index, Y at index, and index at coordinates. That's going to be for navigating the maze. Yep. Oh yeah, and bool is input valid number. This one creates the clean array grid. This is actually what we do next before we jump into printing the grid, because that value that we feed it is the one that see, we make the grid size, we make the clean grid right there, which is just a grid that is all one character. It's just a bunch of pound signs or hashtags, and then it prints that grid out so that way they can see the size of their grid, make sure that that's the size, that's all good, and then it will push that. Well, right now it just goes and deletes that at the end, and it's the cleanup afterwards because we have edit mode commented out. We haven't coded it yet. I don't want it there yet. But this is what it does. If I were to institute a way for them to create their own pieces, like assign a character specifically for a piece, then they can go ahead and, you know, do a thing basically right here. This is where I would put a game piece choice function if I had one. There we go. I'll even leave that part, that comment in. I'm sure my teacher would get a kick out of it if he noticed it. Print current state of maze grid created in main function. There we go. I like to make sure that I'm consistent here because everything is there's a lot here. I'm gonna organize these also later and then like conjunct them down a bit with a an organization function that I love using called regions, but we're not there yet. So edit mode. Going to go ahead and clear, no, it's a system pretty sure it's clear. So that should go ahead and clean out the console entirely. Let's see actually. If I uncomment that and then just build this, it should have no problems, no errors, and when I play it, after it creates the maze, it'll just go ahead and immediately delete the maze and only show me the last printout with the diagnostic stuff. So let's give it a try. Let's go with a 5x5. It didn't clear. Ah, yeah, it didn't clear. Okay. So, oh wait, it's not clear. It's CLS. My mind never goes to CLS because that to me is has a different meaning. It's the combat lifesaver and not the candy. CLS training was crazy, but you see how it flashed for a quick sec like it was printing out our thing, but then it cleared it all out. It did what it's supposed to. So that means that this will go ahead and clear the console when we enter edit mode, and now we can print grid. I already have the maze map and grid size. Maze map. Oh no! I already have the maze right here. And we wanted grid size, but we don't have the grid size. Not it. But we do have, no, it's not a global function. I need to feed it through into edit mode. Shite. So we go up here first to our declaration to make sure that we're consistent. And we put in coordinate pair reference. That's what the ampersand means, it's a reference. We just go ahead and keep that naming scheme going. So we want to feed it the original grid that we created. Now we have to make sure that we update that here with coordinate pair ampersand grid. Now we can go ahead and do grid dot x. Oh wait, no, it's asking for the grid, so I can just feed it grid. It'll do the rest on its own. Perfect. Yeah, I would have needed to do this anyway because I need to, as part of the edit loop, it's going to need to constantly print out. Alright, I need to create a bool here at the start. And we set that to true. Because in order to break out of this, like whenever the user enters -1 as an input, I'll try and make sure to include something in here that goes ahead and checks and says, hey, if they're typing -1 in this input spot for some reason, they're probably getting ready to dip out, and that means clean things up and get out. Might need to make a function to clean up anything in temporary like memory that we create in this edit mode, but we'll address that when we get to it. So that is there. We do this as a quick clear. We're managing, leaving, edit mode via escape. All right. Now oh, excellent. So good. I'm trying to think here. He's a rough one. That. So after clearing previous console prints show grid. I showed you my grid, please answer. Alright, now we need to look into how I had set up the movement, and I already created move edit cursor, which is basically the exact same code as the move player, except I modified the move player from this script on the right. Let me try and find where I had it. Game loop. Oh, move space. That's right. It wasn't even player. It was just move space. But it's just a big old switch. Like literally, that's 90% of it right there is just a switch. The rest is creating the variable for the switch. So that's 5% of it, and the other 5% is running the loop again, like going into the loop again afterwards. Because I made that its own little function, and it wouldn't know how to go back into here. It kind of would. Yeah, it may have been a little superfluous. Either way, like, I don't have that part in here, so that doesn't matter. I just have the switch logic, and since I don't have the same structure for how I was doing coordinates there and various other things. I had to recode it a little bit, so I did. And I made sure I went through and did that for all of the inputs. So I technically have the ability to play the game, which is why I created the struct with the pieces that you could specifically modify those characters, and then you could generate a maze with those pieces, and you can play the game. I feel like that'd be fun. I'd need to find some logic to try and like do a random generation maze with the given parameters. But I'm sure I can find something that would be within my wheelhouse of understanding that I can use as a reference. So, yeah. We made big ol' switch. Like, we converted the original move space into move player, and then we turned that move player into move edit cursor by removing the parts of the script that were saying, hey, if there's a wall here, you can't go there. We don't care about the wall. No one cares about the wall. Not here. Not in edit mode. In edit mode, you go where you want. You have that freedom. Unless you're trying to leave the bounds of the maze, then you don't have the freedom anymore. So, that's what that is. And, now we can do a little loop for the moving edit cursor. I'm gonna need a few bools for this, actually. Set that up, so that way we know to delineate when to accept input for movement. Or for replacing a grid tile. I had to think of the wording. So we set moving cursor to true, so that way they have the ability to use the WASD to move around. And we're going to go ahead and say, I'm going to put right here, remember to see out a message below the grid, either here or in the print grid function, that tells the user how to navigate and how to change to input mode, or just how to change modes. There you go. Putting that there because I'm not going to try and type out that message yet. I need to make sure that I get the functionalities that I want in here first as the baseline before I start putting the extra functionalities in there. So I don't want to pre-type the message and then be like, oh, I need to do these things, and then mess up my prioritization. Okay. My brain blanked out on the thing that I was supposed to do after moving. Oh, right. While... Through... Oh. Dirt. Brain. Come on. Keep up with me. Is that asking for something? What? No saving that could add. I don't care about the thumbnail that I created for this. Okay. So, let's see. Move space, that's going on the Switch. That goes into the game loop, and then move space is using Getch to feed in the character input. I get it. Right, because I created the character array for the maze, I should also consider adding... Oh wait, no, they're up here. Direction input. Whew! I was looking at edit mode and got confused. I was like, wait, where's my direction input so that way I can do that? No, it's gonna be fun. So I need to use Getch, move edit cursor. Was it underscore Getch? I want to check and make sure it was. So, move edit cursor, underscore Getch. Do you know what's that there? Oh, right. So what else did you need? Oh, right, coordinate grid and the character array. So I can definitely feed that into you. We get maze array and grid. Or grid and maze array. Yeah, there it is. That's the right one. Do that, and then after that we'll have to see if the player check if the player does one of the other input types, I guess, or we can put it into the move edit cursor. Yeah, I might put it into the move edit cursor script. No. It's like, unless. Possibly create pointer to in edit mode pool for moving cursor pool in the edit in the move edit cursor parameters, so we can have it toggle off the loop if the right button is pressed. I think that might be the solution here. What is this? Too few arguments in the call for edit mode up here. Why? What did I do to the edit mode again? Right, coordinate pair grid. We want gritty. Yep. So, just to go over it, maze map is the editable grid that we create. We create it dynamically with the create clean grid array, and it returns as the maze map. And from that point, we use that dynamically created array to just pass it around to all of the other functions that we need it for. And then if we need it to, if the player goes back into setup mode, we would delete the maze map and then recreate it again. The only reason that I didn't put setup mode like in there this one could be a little rough. Trying to go back and forth between them actually now that I look at it. I might have to put it into a while game running. We'll do a little thing to contain these functions and let it loop properly between, or toggle properly between the two. Toggle between setup mode and edit mode, since currently toggling is not even possible. Yeah, the way it's set up right now, I wouldn't be able to toggle back and forth between the two, because I needed to get setup mode done on its own first, and there's nothing else you can really do in setup mode besides just input your values to get the grid, so it's a really quick couple inputs and you're done. So I don't really need to put any navigation away from there, but everything that goes into edit mode is going to need to kind of control where everything else goes. So we have these as direction input. Let's see if what button should it be to toggle to would it be tab? I think it could be tab. Like the character could be tab. Hold up, let me look up the C++ character conversion for, let's see, C++. How to type the tab key as a character. I don't need string literal. What are you doing? Oh, okay. So it's gonna be /t. Okay. That's /t. That's easy. I can do that. Because yes I can. That's how we did the check for if we are pressing the, what do you call it, key or not. Let's see. Input is enter key. Yeah, see, /r, that's an acceptable character, even though it looks like it's two characters because it has the / key. Each one of these individually would be their own character, but by typing them together like that, it creates a kind of shortcut for another key. So for that, it would be the return key, or /n also means like new line. So that's acceptable, which means that up here we can do a check for tab. We can have it as a case. Oh, not there. HT. And this is what switches us to, like, actually typing mode. I don't know how to go ahead and actually say that. Oh wait, I just see out something and then push it to something else here. See out, blah blah blah, and then we want to do an end line. What is it? Because there's nothing there. Are you gonna be that anal about it? There you go. Okay, so we see out, and then we want to make sure that we include the break so we don't mess up the flow. Oh yeah, I also forgot to do my thing with that and that. There you go. Actually, the break was fine where it was. It matches all the other ones except for the last one, which the last one should be a little different. So, we type this. Exited, cursor, navigation mode. Alright, so by doing /n, that, like we just said, it moves us to a new line. I'm gonna... Let's see, do I have a secondary? Not on this scene, that's unfortunate. I might have to try and find a little spot here in the middle to slot myself into. Whoop! Yaha! Now I'm no longer blocking literally everything. And I can probably do all of us a favor and get a little closer here, right? Or at least for the purposes of, you know, this. Get a little closer there. Try and make things a little more readable. So sorry that we've gone like almost an hour and everything has been tiny text. It's already hard enough looking at a wall of text. It's worse when you can't even fucking read it. Okay. So, print, do all that. I think I should go ahead and do that thing I mentioned. So first let's go to move, edit mode, cursor. Tack this on to the very end of it. This will be an array. Not an array, it's a character. Is it? What the hell am I thinking about? It's the bool. My bad. Bool reference for, let's see. Cursor mode toggle. Let's go ahead and copy this. So that way we can jump down here. Move edit cursor. Cursor mode toggle. No problems anymore. Because now we can say cursor mode toggle can be swapped over from here. Cursor mode toggle equals false. Dun dun dun. And now down here, it's gonna say, oh no, we're not complete. Of course you're not. Moving cursor. Dun dun dun. See, so I used to constantly just keep on creating new bools and stuff inside of functions, and now that I know about pointers and references and how to use them, I've been looking for it and how to use it even in blueprinting in game engine, specifically in the Unreal Engine. And it's amazing how I've gotten by without knowing this information before. I really do feel like before jumping directly into game engines, they kind of need to maybe force a little of the programming into the curriculum for the game designer, just a bit, because it will help drastically with their understanding of how to, you know, do things design-wise as well, because they'll understand the programming design behind everything as well. They'll know how to structure things. They'll think about it on a deeper scale than just, oh, this is a fancy idea, I like it, let me jot this down. Yeah, that's great for like the surface level of a designer's role, but I think we could all do with looking a little bit deeper into what we are meant for, you know? And there's a lot of people that don't know what they want to do in life, or like have a feeling of like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with myself, what my purpose is. The search for purpose is like ongoing and eternal for a lot of people. And I've honestly always put stock into believing that our purpose is just to experience as much as we can before we no longer can. Because if you think about it, if we were created by some higher life form, whether it be any god you believe in, whether it be aliens, whether it be whatever, if you believe that our soul, our identity, who we were as a person, evacuates our mortal shell and goes elsewhere instead of just disappearing into nothing, then there has to be a reason for that to happen. There has to be a reason why we retain those experiences and things that identify us as who we are. Unless you want to admit that, like, after death, it doesn't matter anymore, and you can be literally free instead of imposing human rules and laws on the freedoms of death. Like, when you really sit to think about a lot of the things that you know, fly as it is how it is, or that's just the way things are, really just stop and question it. It's like, yeah, hold up, wait a minute, something don't quite make sense here. Oh, that's good. Yes, stop me from consuming my own face. Okay, so we print out that it exits, I'm just gonna say exiting. Exiting cursor navigation mode. Didn't need a pointer because we just passed in a reference. So this will let the player move around with WASD until they hit the tab key to go ahead and stop. I'm gonna go ahead and say it should be on the printout, probably. See out. We're gonna do /n/n. Oh wait, I need this first. /n/n. I want to give it a couple lines before we say tab. To toggle between, wait, to toggle cursor navigation mode slash user input mode. Okay. That should be good on that one. That should let me get into here and then exit if needed. This is just to navigate around. Hopefully it will work. I hope. Did I have to set a starting location for myself? Did I not set a starting location for myself? I guess my starting location would be... not the move vector, not up here. We're looking for, yeah, player coordinates. There we go. That would be the cursor location. And then we would just, you know, do a getch to get whatever input it is that they want to, you know, pop in there. As long as it's not one of the function keys, it should work out, or like numlock or anything like that. I wonder if there's a way for me to kind of tell it to not accept like control all, like any of the special keys. C++, how to omit special keys from acceptable user inputs. Non-digit, non-letter. Ah! Yes. Okay. That would filter that out. Wait, that is for is digit, but what about... Oh wait, yeah, if it's just a regular key, that would be fine. If there's an is digit, there's got to be another one that's like adjacent to it, right? Ah, look at that. So there's my two functions right there. Input is enter key, input is valid number. I think is alnum would be is alphanumeric. There's is digit. Pretty sure that's is control. It's finite, is graph is greater, greater equal, infinite. Oh yeah, finite, infinite, less, less equal. Slower, normal, sprint, nan. Oh, there's the functions find space. Looks like they have one for like all the other stuff. I'm trying to see if they have one that's just like is like a letter. Without it being a key. Because technically, as we've already proven, like using slash /N or /T/R. Don't combine those letters in that order. Terrible idea. But, you know, there's certain letter combinations with a / that will go ahead and equate to a character instead of a string, and that would be the equivalent of any of these special characters that I would like to avoid, honestly, but I don't think I'm going to be able to bring it upon myself to put another validation method in here to specify that again. I'm so tired of the validations. Oh, but I kind of feel like it might be needed, though. Shit. Capture characters from standard input without waiting. No, that's using Getch, obviously. Or, oh. Standard in. That's Getch, yeah. Huh. But those are different. Damn it. Oh. This person went ahead and made a struct of acceptable things. So yeah, that'd be pretty. Not gonna do that. Okay, never mind. So let's see if we can just kind of get this toggle going, because once we set that to false, we can do a. I think actually just leaving it alone right here. Let me save it. I accidentally hit wrong commands. There we go. I hit Control D and then it was like, oh, we're waiting for the second input of your macro command. I'm like, enter? So Control S has gone through. Cool. Let's launch this and see what happens. 5 by 5. There we go. It prints out the 5 by 5, and then it asks us to toggle cursor to enter navigation mode. Yeah, we don't have a representation of our character. I know that I'm all the way to the left right now somewhere. And now I'm all the way at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. That makes sense. I should be able to move 4 spaces to the right before it freaks out. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then if I hit 5, yep. Alright, so the navigation's working. I just don't have any kind of visual representation of it there. And then if I hit tab, it exits. Wunderbar, that works. Yeah, I know, me testing functions while coding it, that's crazy. Yeah, this, I don't want to mess this up. I don't want to waste time. Waste time as in waste it messing up and having to undo and redo stuff. So that worked. I think I can drop the double space on it. I can give it the single. And I don't need to put a space between there. Yeah. Cool. Build that. I'll leave that expanded actually, because I might wind up needing to look in it again to put in more instructions. But right now I need to set our cursor somewhere. Or set, like I want the actual cursor over there, but it might just have to be a pseudo cursor. How to move Cursor to a position in a generated grid array. See if they have anything. Oh, it's always just how to move the character across the grid. That's what I need. Oh wait, how to position the cursor. Take the cursor there, knowing how. At files, include the following code in your program. Oh right, the get handle thing. Wait, that's a thing? Yeah, that's what I figured, they wouldn't have that. Weird, where the hell did they get that function from then? I'm sorry, I'm trying to check out, like, console has 20 lines, 80 columns. Oh. Interesting. Oh, that's what it would have by default, I guess. This light though. Yeah, there's a whole lot. Oh, you have to use the Windows header to get that stuff. And they're using go to XY instead of, like, which is a built-in C function that I didn't know existed, instead of like one that is custom made. Damn. Okay. A lot of people have wind up doing these like maze assignments throughout the years as obviously a good coding test. So one of the issues is that I run into just a lot of other student questions with other students looking for answers, bumping threads. So I can't exactly try and find the answer myself, and it would be pointless for me to go ahead and bump the thread, because I need to try and do this myself and not really fish out too much. Like, if it's already posted out there, then it's research. If I'm having someone try and tutor me on it, then that's, I consider that extra outside help. Like, there was someone wrote a huge block of comment going through a bunch of stuff, and I was like, if I need to read through all that, that means that I don't currently understand it. I don't want to use that. I am familiar with using the Windows header, though. And I do know that they're, I'm pretty sure I have it in one of my scrap projects. There's a way to change the color of your printout. So, I'd consider doing that, honestly. Let me get myself up off the floor a little bit here. There we go. That way when I naturally wind up slouching, I'm not just looking like the dude from Home Improvement that's just hiding behind a fence like this. Some people know, because I will slouch and then just get lower and lower, and then I'll just be like, well, hey, neighbor! That actually bugged my back out to be that low. Alright. We print. All of that worked. So what next? Right, some representation of where the player actually is. Right, because I put myself at -1, -1 at the very start. So I think I need to set myself to 0, 0 at the very start of edit mode. So to do that, I just go type KP player picked coordinates, which is going to be our, it's a pointer to the coordinate pair that is the player coordinates. So we do this. What am I doing here? We need to use these because it's a pointer. We're gonna assign X. Zero. KP player picked coordinates. The reason we do the little arrow thing is because that's how you access the things inside of a pointer's referenced source material. Set that to 0. So that should mean that whenever we enter edit mode, like we'll enter edit mode and it will automatically print the grid and put our cursor up there. And every time we move, we need to print like something that says that the cursor is here. Nope. My bad. Include, and then they want Windows.h. Oh my god, there's Windows AI machine learning! Let me just include the machine learning in here, teach it my horrible coding style, and then put out a bunch of horrible programs. That should make me money. People on the internet be like. Oh my god, it's so much. It's a little overwhelming, honestly. Looking at it, it does overwhelm me a little bit, and that's kind of part of the reason why I'm getting a little sluggish and just kind of scrolling around a lot. But let's see what I can try and pick up my own slack with, right? That position, okay, and that will... we set that index. I do think that the next step would be to print the see out. Let's say we're gonna use this as a player icon for right now. How did I have it set up over here for the actual full movement? Because I definitely rewrote stuff. It prints the map, but then it also changes... wait. Yeah, I set print map to run once. That makes certain sense. I coded this poorly. So while game running, it'll clear that shit out, it'll print it out, and then it will say... Oh, right. So we'd see out the player at, okay. This is going to be a little different. Because I needed to try and remember what its previous like thing was, its previous spot. No. So like the thing is that with this, I had with the maze on the right, we have a preset size. That's what this is right here. We created the character array, but we made it a preset path. I like designed that little path and made it an actual little thing where you can like bump into dead ends and stuff. I didn't want to do a randomizer for it. I'm gonna put the end line here. Not the end line. We're just gonna do that. So that would be, you know, the wrong thing there. No, I think it needs to be with the printout. Yeah. Okay, I got this. Because once we move, we're moving the edit cursor and it's not printing things out afterwards. That is the thingamabobber. Okay, where's my print? We're kind of gonna copy this. Oh, wait a minute. Before I do that, we're gonna leave that there with that. Now I'm gonna copy that. Let's say WASD. In cursor have mode WASD to move cursor icon. Okay, so we have that there, and now we need to work it into this. Oh, right, I put spaces. That was the thing. I know that there's a particular syntax for doing a quick check like this, but it might not be a quick check. Let's see. C++ in line ways to write if statement. I don't remember the exact way to, like, what to call this. There we go. Condition, question mark, value if true, value if false. Ternary operator, that's what it is. Okay. So what we're going to want to do here, this is going to be the false of it. I think we can kind of leave that like that. If I just go ahead and the result is equal to blah 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 blah. So Hmm. Let me do this, and then question mark, and then that to separate the two. What am I going to put here? Or if it's, oh yeah, output instead, the cursor icon. What do I want the cursor icon to be? It'll be the question mark, actually. And now for the actual condition is going to be if, no, this is already an if. So we want to know if x is equal to the player picked coordinates x and I guess I do have to put that there. No? Yes? No? Why is that no longer allowed? Yeah, alright. It didn't fully work out the way I wanted it to. Unfortunate. That would like create a brand new one. I guess I will. I'll just create a character here. Oh, that would create one each time. We'll set result equal here. This would be result is equal to all of that. So it should print result. That's if it's the same as the X and the Y, because it is going to be going through from the top as well there. Y? Yeah, cool. It is still in scope. Also, I messed this up. Just realized. There we go. That's probably why the parentheses were needed, because why it thought it needed the parentheses was because I fucked it up. No, never mind. It just needs them. It's fine. It'll live with that. So we're setting the result equal to one of these two things if x is equal to the player pick coordinates x and y is equal to kp player picked coordinates y. Awesome. So right now, that is our player icon, is the... Actually, let me go all the way up here. I can create a cursor icon. I don't think there's a point to it, though. But why not? Const expression, character, okay, cursor, icon equals question mark. Look at that, it exists. Now we can just kind of plop that in there. Where was I? Who are you people? I was in print, right? What was I doing? What's wrong with me? Right, the question mark. I wanted it to not be a hard-coded thing. I wanted it to say, okay, cursor. Oh, look at that. Okay, cursor icon. It knows what to do. Here. Done. That means we can get rid of this because that's essentially what we just programmed in there. Build that, look for any errors. Look at that, no errors. Hooray! Now let's see if it works. Do another 5x5. And I do not see any kind of change. Oh, wait, that's right. It's not printing a new one. That's silly, silly me. Silly me. That means that at the end of every one of these, print grid. Maze array and grid. All right, give it a try. Make it an 8x8. We're gonna want to clear that each time it does the thing. So we'll do a system CLS before we do the print grid. Just to keep things neat. Give it a full 12x12. There we go. Now we have the cursor represent. Let me. I did the thing again where I'm like, yes, it's working, and you have to take my word for it because you can't see shit. Ah, okay, there we go. We can see now that we can navigate around. Trying to go too far out says can't move here. Can't do that. But there we go. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right. So then we can hit tab, and then it exits navigation mode and puts us back into regular edit mode, which currently is the rest of the way unscripted. But it's working completely as intended up till now. With the exception of it just doing that quick flash thing again. I'd have to just kind of re-coordinate. Huh. I was gonna say, can't I technically do a continue? But no, it's going into a switch, not a loop. Never mind, I'll leave the rest of that alone. It's working as intended. I think I'm gonna move this down here. So that way it will print the grid after setting the player coordinates. So that way we have the cursor at the beginning, because I noticed that it didn't give us the cursor at the very start. I have C-outed that message already, and I put it in the print. Display controls. So after we pop out of there, file in edit mode. There we go. I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to do that nice and early. Because once we break out of this, the next thing I want it to do is to like dip out of edit mode and either go back to setup mode or go to play mode or quit. Yeah. So, I'm going to make 3 integers here in edit mode. Or do I want to put them... Because I have a spot up here that's got the exit edit mode code. I think I'm going to change the name of it from exit edit enter setup. That shouldn't change anything else because I haven't called to that yet. Let's see. I guess I could do okay, exit editor, enter game. Game equals P. And we can do int K exit all. Yeah, should work. We'll call this one, or we'll say that it shouldn't be an int. Call it character. What's the escape key considered to be? Typing escape key in C++ with con.io. Yeah, mate. 27? It's just equal to 27? So, character 27. Or use the ncursive header, and you can get that. That's cool, but I've never used that header before. I'm not going to dip into a whole other like header file to include in here. So this would instead become, what was that? 27. So it would be an int. Actually, and it wouldn't, never mind, it wouldn't be an int. It's definitely the character. Character 27 equals escape. Fun fact, I need to go to the bathroom. Also a fun fact. Alright, I'm back. Not only am I back, but I had to write down an idea here because I have an idea for, like, an input validator that I can just literally make as a script here and pass it around to my other shits. That goes ahead and lets me choose what kind of input I want to validate and, like, omit everything else. And God, that'd be such a nice little framework to have. Where the hell are my pens? How about the framework of where my stuff is? I have such a mess around me. I cannot wait for the semester to be done so that way I can get reorganized again. Let's go back into Steam and let me finish writing down the idea. Modular input validator and B++. See, there would be probably be structs to work with, but I just want to write function for each input type. That's it. That's all I want to write. I'll waste too much time. Okay. If I get too detailed on that, I'll waste too much time. So we kind of can have a random start point, to be quite honest. I'd just have to seed the random at, like, the start. Anyway, checking for exit key. Does exit all. I'm not going to have play game fully added yet. See if that becomes a thing that I can add in here. Case. Okay. Exit all. Exit. I'm not sure if that actually does what I think it does. Search online. Help me. Help me! Use to terminate a program. It performs a cleanup operation before terminating the process, such as calling destructors for static objects and flush clusters. This line will not be executed. Exit success terminates the program with a success status. I see. Not exactly what I'm looking for. Console program exit, yeah. Return from main. Yeah, okay, so how would I go ahead and just exit, dump it back out to main? Oh, it's part of the CSTD library. The exit with an exit code. That's fun. Everyone just keeps on doing the, yeah, just put your return 0 in main, and that's not what I want to do. Oh. Oh, interesting. Why is that? Oh, it's an empty struct? Interesting. So it's just you create the thing that's going to be that, throw that, that catches that. Interesting. I wouldn't personally know how to do that without having looked at this. I'm going to keep this for myself, but I'm not going to wind up using that. I think this would just go to wind up going to return, which would wind up just putting us back through. I'll leave it empty for now. I'll figure out a thing for it. Build that right there so that way I know that that's what that was intended for. So we exit there, and we're still going to be in edit mode, but we're not going to be in moving cursor mode. Now we're going to be in input. Cool. Awaiting input equals false. While awaiting input Oh fuck, can I make a function within a function? I wonder. I'm gonna try it. I'm insane! I'm actually gonna try this. Not sure if it is allowable. I'm gonna do void toggle cursor or input. I'm gonna put input or cursor mode. Yeah, I knew it's not gonna let me. Wait, expected a thing? Like there? There's no way. Yeah, no, it would expect it up top. That's not gonna happen. Damn. That would have been crazy. What if I have a quick little void toggle to bools? Bool A, bool B. They're going to have to be references of the bools, so that way when we change them, it changes the reference. And then we can say A is equal to not A. B is equal to not B. There we go. If these are both opposite one another, every time we call this, it's going to toggle them both simultaneously. Which would handle this. It can be made static. That is true. While awaiting input, let's go up to this where we did the toggle. So now instead of this, we can do toggle to bools. Wait, this is above that. Yeah, I'm gonna need to move that. I don't have them in here, that's crazy. Crap. So it wouldn't be here. I'm gonna leave that there currently. Might have to get rid of that reference now that I have an alternative, possibly. Sorry, I shrunk that up like crazy, I know. Just trying to relocate this. Relocate it like all the way up. Yeah, there you go. Seems like a pretty baseline function. I hope I don't even need to comment that one because it's pretty self-evident. Toggle two bools. Alright, now let's get back to regular sizing for legibility. Don't like. How would I do this? Because the two bools that we'd be swapping is moving cursor and awaiting input. I guess I could feed them both into the movement. So that way I can change it up by calling the two bools in there. ¿Por qué no? ¿Por qué no los dos? ¿Por qué no? Está bien. No, por favor, dale. It's going to be easy, right? Yeah. This one is gonna call this one cursor mode, and I'm gonna call this one input mode. Cursor mode. Definitely that one already. And the other one was awaiting input. Cool. So these two are gonna come into play instead of just the other. Oh, god damn it. Right, I gotta go up here. Cool, ampersand, input mode. Get rid of toggle there. Yeah, you feel better. Cool. Now we go back here, and we go down, 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 down. Because now I think we can safely do toggle to bools using cursor mode and input mode. Control Shift B, give it that little build out. Why is that one a pretty color and that one isn't? There it is. It did the thing. So we can swap over to here, and while awaiting input, we can check for certain input types. Yeah, let's do that. We're gonna run a switch. With a getch. That needs that. All right. So currently, I can check to see if it is a number. But I think right now I need to focus on specific input types for like picking what you want to do. So I think we start first with cout. Oh, wait a second. Cout. Go. I really hate seeing the red lines and errors. It distracts me. So, we see out edit current tile. I'm gonna say this one is that. What other one we want on there? This is gonna need a /n as well, which means we don't need that space. Also, that doesn't need to be capitalized. Edit current tile. trying to think, and I'm failing, I'm sorry. I'm very quiet, and I realize that I've got a lot of noise up in here, and none of it's coming out. I'm trying to think of how to do this, how to word this in such a way that, oh, I think I know what I can do. I think I can use the switch to basically jump down. Since I'm using switch getch, I can have a result, one of the cases, be possibly leading into another switch. So it'll do another switch getch, and if it doesn't match up with the expected -1, then it's we say no. Not accepted input. Hello, Abman. How are you? Let's go ahead and say -1 to exit or to swap to or redo I don't know why I'm such a stickler for wording. Alright, -1 to rerun setup mode. And then in the switch we'll have to make sure that it will detect if it's a -1 that they entered or not. And let's go ahead and say ow. Actually, I can do K not adding document sequence or anything like that. Where's my K variables? There we go. That's not all of my K variables. That's the May starter character, player picked stuff. Where's the rest? Don't be dick. What is this? I just want my variables. There's the exit all, exit, edit, enter setup. Setup mode. If I just made it the character negative, that'd be crazy. No, I won't do that. Admin, I am currently doing a level editor for a maze game that's all done in like console C++. And you can see I am deep in the code. I've got a good amount of it done. I'm like between 60 and 70% done with it the way I want it to be, or at least to its baseline, so that way I can start doing fun stuff, like custom stuff with it. So we can edit the current tile, exit this mode to go back to setup mode. I'll add that there for now. I want to do a little slash here and say if possible to add ability to play maze, add play button function, or add play instructions. Add swap to play mode. There we go. Cool. I don't think there was another one I needed. I'd have to create a whole other mode if I wanted to edit the cases, huh? Not necessarily. Just thought of something. We'll pop that down. We'll add this here, and over here I'm going to prompt for something else. And I think that thing is going to be... What key would I do that? Ah, I got it. Change gameplay or maze game icons. Yeah, that's the one. I can leave the rest, and now we can get into the switch now that we've got 3 actual options here. So we want to do case E. I need to create a temporary variable for this. My bad. I forgot about that. Temp input folder. And we will do a getch for temp input holder. Or rather, temp input holder equals getch. That's the smarter thing here. I'm being dumb. Copy that. Get rid of that. And just do the getch first. There. We have to make sure that we tell this that it's supposed to be looking for the character E. Give it some space before we add the break in there. Alright, so I've been doing fine, just that I have the desire to stuff outside of school, but I can't do it or else waste it. Yeah, no, I'm exactly in the same boat, brother. I just wrote down some stuff for like, actual script stuff that I want to do that isn't even, like, game development oriented. It's literally just I want to create a modular input validator because almost all of this... A good chunk of this, over 400 lines of this, is all just functions and variables and stuff related to validating user input, making sure that they're not typing things that I don't want them to type and I don't want to have to accept and parse and go through. So if they try and put something in that's not accepted, we say no, 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 no. And that's what happens. But it took up to this point to get to where I can actually do stuff with editing the level the way I'm supposed to. It's crazy. And this is... Technically, this was already due yesterday. He gave me an extension to Monday because I kept them up to date with why I would be possibly not able to turn in on time. Like, I kept all my instructors up to date this past week because it's been crazy. Holiday depression is real. And even if you yourself don't suffer it, like, I don't really care much for holidays. I don't have the attachments to it that a lot of people do, because I've grown very disillusioned to a lot of stuff. So kind of like the things that are celebrated, it rubs me the wrong way. But it does a different thing to other people, that the holidays do or did mean something deep and important to, that they can no longer, you know, hold that same meaning. And that can tank someone's will to live if it hits them hard enough. So keep up with your homies. That's all I'm saying. Even if it's, you know, a little draining for you, like if you get a little emotionally exhausted, that's better than having to attend their funeral and never see them again, you know. So I explained that to all my instructors, and I was like, listen, I am fucking tired. All my people are still up, but I am tired. Cool, my packages are shipped. Uh-oh, it seems like one of my threads is actually taking off. That's unfortunate. Let's see, so case E, we want it to edit the current tile, so we want to change the tile under a certain point. So I think we're going to do another character thing, and we're going to say this is going to be new tile icon equals underscore getch. And what we're going to do is get our KP player picked coordinates. X KP player picked coordinates Y. I know it's going to give me errors and stuff. I just want to get both of those things out and into the field so I can see them real quick. Scroll up and see get index at coordinates. I should already know the index because it would be my player index. So the index would be scroll through here. Coordinate control. Oh, I didn't comment it. Of course, because that came from the module info, and it was just one of those trust us, bro. This is just how it goes situations. Julio. So, how do I want to go about this then? We'd be changing something in the grid. So I think we'd be getting the index of the array. So we'll take that player index. Actually, I need to update that index. Is equal to get index at coordinates, and now we do KP underscore, not underscore, KP player picked coordinates X. Player picked coordinates Y. Grid dot X. Yes. Alright, so this will let me update my index at my current player coordinates. And then what we do is we go into maze array dot it's going to be a pointer, so Or not. Oh, right. Maze array, ba 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 ba. KP player picked coordinates dot index. Equals. I'm gonna set this to the new tile icon. Thank you, brain. Finally catching up. So if we press E, that lets us do this. Let's do a C out real quick. That says any non-special key or press any letter or digit gonna say press any key. No character. Not my fault if they don't know what a character is! We'll do a /n in there so that way it goes to a new line. Let's take a look at the next case. What was the next case? Oh, right. We're gonna do case negative. C out. Negative. Right. We're gonna drop the breakdown here. From here, we're going to do a little getch action. Oh, right. I need to do a value. Temporary one. Follow up input. There you go. That's a good name for it. And we're going to say that's equal to underscore getch, so that way we just automatically go ahead and grab for that. And then we do a quick check. If follow up input is not equal to 1, it's not equal to 1, then we jump back out of there. We do a continue to go back to the start of the loop. Whoa. Let's see. If it's not that 1 key, then we do a cout. A cout is basically a print, by the way. Cout. Just put those in there so that way I can get this thing to stop being mad at me. /n for a new line, get rid of all this empty space and do that. Nice. Input -1. Now I think we can do a continue there. Yeah. I don't know why, but I'm thinking that the simple PNG I put onto the level is taking up all the RAM resources to make Unreal Freeze, but like I need a PNG for the level because the instructor asked me for it, but crashed like 7 times to 10 minutes when testing it out to play. So when you drop the PNG in there, how are you dropping it in? Are you just taking the plain texture of the PNG and dropping it into the map? Because if you are, then it might be trying to apply that texture to your sky map and overwrite your sky with the texture of a PNG. What you might want to do is right-click the texture of that PNG and maybe apply 2D paper sprite. Just apply like paper sprite stuff to it and then create a sprite of that. And what you can do is you can use that sprite as a as a 2D object in your scene. Back to this, if our follow-up input after negative isn't 1, then it's invalid. If it is, then that means that we have to push this back to the setup mode. Which after setup mode, it wouldn't know what to do because it would, oh man, not good. Huh. Oh yeah, it would just end my edit mode, and then I can tell it what code to have for that ending. Based on the outcome. So in edit mode equals false. That would terminate the rest of this, and we would jump out of here. So we would probably want to tell it something. Some kind of code that it can have. We'll just do an int exit condition. There we go. So in here we'll set this as exit condition 0. Or exit condition 1. I think I like exit condition 1. Exit condition 0 would be if we did the if we actually created the thing to say like exit the whole game. We can still add that as one of the conditions, honestly. But let's go down here and say switch exit condition that, and then we'll say if exit condition is 1, then we run exit. We run the other mode, setup mode, case 1. Setup mode. And year overloads that are required are... What? Too few arguments? Yeah, I know. You need the grid. Enjoy your grid. I am at a little bit of a loss here trying to figure out how I want to structure this so that way the setup mode and the other one loop. I know move edit cursor works, I can collapse that. So I made this a const. Let's see if it'll work. Skipped by case label. New tile icon. Where? Initialization of new tile icon is skipped by the case label. So what am I supposed to do? This, go down here and then say new tile icon equals Yetch here. That worked, okay. Interesting. I'll rock with it though. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. I technically don't even need that, do I? Ah. Funny. That's wild. That made it easier. Alright, so... user is priming -1 for exit code. If user doesn't follow with the 1 key, throw out the inputs and try again. Alright. This here for something, or no, that wasn't the cleanup commands there on Forge. I really need to remember to keep those commands out and available for myself. Because there's certain ones that can be used to throw out stored like input variables or input values. Because you know if you press a letter that has certain binary value to it, a binary ID as a character, but that binary ID as a character, if you just take that binary also has the same equivalence as a number, and then you could also turn that character into a number that way, and then instead of getting the character you wanted, you wind up with an integer that's like X amount of numbers long that is not what you were looking for, and blah 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 blah. Yeah, that kind of stuff. So we have that there. If the follow-up input's good, then we go ahead and we do the in edit mode false. We break out of the edit mode loop, which puts us into the exit condition 1, which would put us back into setup mode. That would be the initial one. Oh boy. Probably get rid of that print grid there. Honestly. Yes, be gone. We can put that elsewhere if needed. We did implement swappable key characters. We can get rid of that. I'm going to move this up closer. The setup mode. I might cluster those together. I'm going to move this down a little bit more. Okay. This is to create one that is the grid size that we created there. Okay, so I mean, technically, just by changing the grid size, yeah, that's fine, I guess. But we need to create the clean grid, like here in main, to keep it and push it around. Like, that needs to be a thing. See. Equals true. Let's do while running editor functions put this into a loop. Oh, that would wind up being deleted. Oh, that's wild. Oh, because it falls out of the scope of the while loop. That's even crazier. Okay, so... Unfortunately, I didn't mean to do that. Instead, down here. Okay. So... int current current used feature equals 0 for right now, for sorting what mode should be used at any given time. Okay. So while we're running the editor, we're going to be going with a switch. I'm using switches all over this fucking thing. Current used feature. And now we get to choose what it's doing from there. Let's see. Are you going to do a live stream on the final day and finals week? Honestly, I'm not sure. I may want to take away any possible distractions for myself, including like socializing just for the last week, or honestly for these last two. I'm not sure. I'm already behind. Completely honest. Like, again, this was due Thursday. This was due yesterday, and I'm still doing it because I didn't have the time to do it when it was assigned. So I'm playing catch up already, and I am behind on the progress that I wanted to have on my other two big developments with Night Terrors, the 2D HD or 2.5D side-scrolling one. Like, that one I still need to do a lot of work on, and I need to do Brig Breakout and finish that. And I'm not even done creating the map for that. I am very much falling behind. And it is, it's killing me inside. It truly is. If I have to repeat a class, I'm not going to be too upset about it, but it would feel like a dramatic waste of time. Not dramatic, drastic. So, current used feature, 0 is going to be... I think 0 would be quitting, so let's say 1. So case 0 drop a break, default break, see out, error moving to new function, or error changing modes. Oh man, I'm in a rough spot. So current use feature, case 0 would be let me put a little thing here for stop running everything. Yes. Now that I talk about distractions, I think I might leave at 8, which is going to be in 16 minutes, rather than 9, because I do need to shore up and focus, and I've been bouncing around a little too much between different lines of thought conversation. And, like, it's not even a you thing. I so appreciate the social interaction because I have so little of it. I'm starving for some conversation, but because of that, I'm also, like, very easily distractible and will go on long tirades. And if I'm streaming, I don't need anyone here to go on a long tirade because I don't want to be one of those people that someone stops in to check the stream, sees that it's just some dude in hyper-focus mode with no interaction or speaking whatsoever, and then they leave. So I've learned to just constantly talk to fill space whenever I'm streaming, and that is kind of a distraction. So, I'll try and get through as much of this as I can for the rest of the 15 minutes, but then I'm going to pop off of stream so that way I can hard focus on this because, as stated, I'm behind and I have a standard that I need to meet within myself. We're going to go ahead and set this to running editor functions equals false. And that'll be that. For case 0, case 1, setup mode. And this is going to take the grid size as the setup grid. And then it's going to do the character maze map creation. I still need to think on this more. And I'll be right back. We're back. So now I'm encountering the new problem here where this is going to be an issue, wouldn't it? I do that there. Let me toss the break here. Do the case 3. and say edit mode, and it wants maze map and grid. Break there. Okay, so let's go ahead and say that our current used feature is equal to 3 at this point. Once we've created that clean grid array. Yeah, maze map grid size. Game piece choices, delete these from here. I'm gonna leave this actually out here, the last delete maze map thing here. Oh, so now you're out of bounds. I see. So you'd have to be, no, you're still kind of within the thing for the, oh boy. That's not good. Feature to use. Feature to use. Feature to use. So here's the thing, is that this would need to be created in, like, outside of the switch in order for it to stick around. So these things do break out of there, and then once it's out of the switch, that's why this would go away. But we've set up grid size, which is already outside of there. That's the whole point of that. So if we're going to do that, I'm just going to put this right back here. We're going to get rid of this. Yeah. Whatever. Feature to use should be done. Trying to see if there's a way to, like, do a valid check on something that exists or not. So many things that I don't know about this coding language, but it is a, or any coding language, honestly. But there's so much available that, like, the option paralysis kind of sets in, which also kills my momentum here. Because having so many ways to do something means trying to find the one that fits my niche case scenario is rough. Move this up so that way they're kind of together. Using program equals true. The reason I'm encapsulating this even more is because if I'm going to try and put a play mode in there, I want it to be something that swaps off here. Or rather, this is going to be like my above everything, my pseudo main, so to speak. So if we set that to false, stop running everything, like we're not doing anything there, this would be setup mode, you set up the grid size, and then we can break out of that. Case 3. Damn, it feels like this doesn't work if I can't like do it all on the right like point here. It's problematic to me. Let's see how well I can push things around. So in setup mode, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Right, right. What if we create the array there in setup mode? Wait, technically, if we're not going to print the maze array until we're in edit mode, do I need it? I don't think I do. What if I put it here? And say this equates to grid. Oh no, it's already expecting the array here. Oh, because I'm in the wrong thing. I'm in fucking print grid like a derp. My bad. I meant to do this in edit mode. This also already expects the maze array, but if I don't have it, I can send it, create it. Means this would kind of be invalidated. It feeds it in, and then we're overwriting it immediately by creating a new clean one. So right now, technically, this still works, but I want to go back and get rid of that part there, because I want it to create the maze array here. Speaking about One Piece games from last week, how many years do you think it will take to make a good one to adapt the entire story? And it could be multiple games. Okay, so the way I think that they should run that is if they want it to be like a good single player experience, then they're gonna need to break it down in like maybe not per arc, because the arc sizes differ and change, but it would have to be like an episodic release type thing where they release the certain plot lines. I think for like base game, it should be up to the halfway point of One Piece, and then like release a second game or DLC or not DLC, an expansion. It would have to be like a full expansion to get up to at least get up to the end of Wano. I think grand total, it would have to be like 3 big single-player games to get base story without filler and without movie content, without like any of the other stuff. Just following their path and playing alongside as the Straw Hats to do the thing. That would that's what the game type would have to be. And as for how long it would take, way too long. Way too long. For it to feel right for all the characters, and for it to have the size of the world that it has, at least only that's just in the places that they've traveled to, by the way, because those islands are no small laughing matter. You can fudge it by changing scale or just like constraining your characters to one area and then making the rest of an island just background, but people aren't going to enjoy that if they're going to be paying for an immersive One Piece Straw Hat adventure experience. So they're going to want to be able to explore all over the island from coast to coast. And you're going to have to be able to facilitate that. Am I going to watch the remake considering it might have better pacing and look better? Of course I am. Of course I am. I know that the Fishman Island is already getting remade, but I'm not watching it just yet. I know I'll get distracted. Because I know that Oda is approving these changes and stuff, so that means that there might be new hidden things there, or maybe he's cut away some of the bullshit that isn't relevant for the future of the story, so that way I can focus on the details that are still left in. It's kind of like they give you the needle in the haystack quandary, but there's like maybe 5 needles in a whole haystack, but now all of a sudden they scooped off 3/4 of the haystack and said, yeah, there's still 5 needles in there. They're just easier to find now. I know I'll get super distracted and just stay like really trying to pick apart every frame while I'm, you know, supposed to be doing this 700 lines later, you know? Where did I wind up here? Right. I'm trying to change it up so that way we generate the maze array here. And that would mean I can clean it up, quote unquote, destroy it afterwards, whatever. This is the one that we constantly reprint while we're doing our thing here. And we can put it here that if we wind up going into play mode, case, let me do another enter. Case, K, inputs, no, not the right ones. I know I set one for, okay, where are you? Cursor icon, exit all, exit edit, enter setup, inputs, up, left, down, right, maze, start character, player pick coordinates. Did I seriously just set it to if they... Oh, that's right. I didn't do this. Exit editor, enter game. Did I make that a capital? No. Good. Exit editor, enter game. That means if they hit P, we're gonna need to push the array into a thing to actually play the game. Default pieces or custom pieces. I might have to add that to setup mode. Create custom pieces. I'll add that in a little later. See, while we're in edit mode, moving cursor, do that. While we're awaiting input mode, go ahead and try and find these. This will let us get and change something in the maze array to be that thing. We break out. I went over the time that I said that I would pop off, so I'm gonna go ahead and leave now. I'm gonna, again, enter hyper-focus mode and just be really quiet from this point on anyway, so I'm basically running out my social battery, but I need to keep my brain sharp and on this. So we're gonna go ahead and end here. I appreciate you, Abman, for being here as the sole chatter and interactor for today. I appreciate you so much. Anyone that's watching from the future, don't worry, you still have your chance to watch things, because I'm sure I'll still be doing this until the day I die. And I will still be talking so fast that my captions will glitch out for stuff. So, with that said and done, ladies and gentlemen, I will see y'all eventually. Stay frosty.